Welcome, everybody. I'm Coach Les, and one of the things that I'm up to and doing and having a little fun with is reading Proverbs. And just like yesterday, if you saw my Proverbs yesterday, Proverbs 1, I want to let people know that reading a Proverbs a day, and I'm in the space of having to catch up. So I'm going to be catching up between now and the weekend so that I'll get the day associated with the Proverbs. And I also wanted to get these all on videotape so that if somebody wanted to, they could go back and watch it next month, go back and watch the one each day in the sequence they want to. So tonight, I'm going to be doing Proverbs 2 and Proverbs 3 and sharing about them. So let's get started. The Lord gives wisdom. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hidden treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord giveth wisdom. Out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. He keepeth the paths of judgment and preserveth the way of his saints. Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yea, every good path. Preserve by discretion. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee. Understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh froward things. And in the notes so far, what it says in the notes, the conditions for obtaining wisdom are given first. One must earnestly seek it as a prospector would search for gold. It is not an undirected search. However, since the parent's instruction is the basis, the consequences of obtaining wisdom are listed: knowledge of God and right conduct. We continue with preserved by discretion, verse 13. Who leave the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness? Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the frowardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked, and they froward in their paths, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth her with words, which forsaketh the guide of her youth and forgetteth the covenant of her God. For her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto the dead. None that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life. That thou mayest walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of the righteous, for the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. Verses 16 through 19 that I just read, this is the first of 5 passages in chapters 1 through 9, in which the son is warned to avoid sexual sin. The strange woman means a foreigner, because most often the harlot was an alien. And we now are going to step into keep the commandments, chapter 3. And I'll be back with you in chapter 3 in just a moment. Chapter 3, keep the commandments. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For lengths of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all the ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor the word with thy substance, and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth. Wisdom is precious. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding, for the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. Starting at the beginning of 3, this passage may be divided into 6 sections between verse 1 and 12, each containing a command and a reason to obey that command. About thy neck, the teachings should be made as much a part of one's adornment as a necklace. The table of thine heart, that is the mind. 3 commands are given: trust, meaning rely on and depend on; lean not, meaning do not depend on your own native instincts; and acknowledge him, meaning have fellowship and intimacy with God in all of life. The result of such devotion is that God will make the path straight before you. God's correction shows his love. We then go on to wisdom is so important that God himself used it in creating the world. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding, for the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. The Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding hath he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down. The dew. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life upon thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in the way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give when thou hast it by thee. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing that he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of the oppressor's ways. For the froward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. The needy neighbor is to be helped. The innocent neighbor is to be respected and left alone, and the wicked neighbor is not to be envied. So we're going to take a pause because I'm going to do chapter 4 while I'm at it. All right, welcome back. It's chapter 4. The instruction of a father. Hear ye, children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also, and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words. Keep my commandments and live. 3 generations are linked together here in this transmission of wisdom. Note that it is transmitted. The wisdom is transmitted by personal influence, especially in the home. Get understanding. Get wisdom. Get understanding. Forget it not neither. Decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. She shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. And when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, bypass. Avoid it, pass not by it. Turn from it and pass away. For they slept not, except they have gone mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they can cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence, but the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Here is a good summary of the theology of the entire book. 2 paths from and with Matthew. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all due diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a froward mouth and perverse lips. Put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, then thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all the ways be established. Turn not to the right, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Life in Proverbs often means full life, abundant life, and the absence of such life is frequently called death. Heart could often be translated mind in the book. Since the Hebrews had no separate word for mind, the word heart often served to represent the seat of the intellect. The key to the whole man is his mind. Whatever captures the mind captures the man. Wow. Heart, the Old Testament word heart often refers to the physical organ of the circulatory system. Both testaments also see the heart figuratively as the center of the personality of spiritual life. The heart is the seat of intellect, emotions, will, and moral consciousness. It is the personality which has that extraordinary ability to preserve itself. The heart is presented as the seat of conscious life and the fountainhead of life. Jesus' illustration, Jesus taught that sin came out of the heart of people, thus defiling them. After conversion, one of the characteristics of Christians is that they have the law of God written in their hearts. And the application, Christians should love the Lord with all their hearts. And so I'm going to take a little quick commercial and I'll be right back. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you, Michelle Trado. I'll write you a note here in a moment. All right, we're back to chapter 5. I'm doing my due diligence to catch up and see if I can get you all caught up as well. And I might be able to do it. We'll see if I can. The lips of a strange woman. Oh boy, here we go. My son, attend unto my wisdom and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldst ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Pardon me. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house, lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger, and thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, and say, oh my goodness, how have I forgotten? And thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. You know, the first part of chapter 5 here, the lips of a strange woman, the son must incorporate the values of the father into his life before the temptation described actually occurs. Moral stability prior to the temptation is the prerequisite for successful resistance. 9 all the way through 14. The price of unchastity is immense. The loss of wealth, the loss of health, a possible reference to venereal disease and self-regret. God tells the believer ahead of time what he will say if he gets involved in this sin. No worries. No worries. Drink from your own well. Drink waters out of thine own cistern and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquity shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sin. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. Once again, we're just going to dive in and take a little 30-second break here before we jump into chapter 6. And I almost forgot. Ravished means intoxicated and exhilarated. This verse shows that the sexual relationship in marriage exists for pleasure as well as procreation. 5:21-23. Another reason for rejection, sexual temptation, is that the Lord sees all and will punish the wrongdoer. I think it's yeah, it has. So with that, here we go with a little commercial break again, and then I'll catch up with today's scripture. So here we go. Surety for a friend. My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Consider the ways of the ant. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise? The final piece here that we're looking at 6. Surety for thy friend means to put up security for someone else's loan. This is a foolish act that can be remedied only by immediately pleading release by the friend. The sluggard is the habitually lazy person. He is admonished to learn 2 important lessons from the ant. The ant has no guide, overseer, or ruler, meaning that the ant does not have to have a taskmaster standing over it to make it work. It is a self-starter. The ant is wise enough to prepare for predictable circumstances. 2 questions about sleep are posed to the sluggard. His answer is given in verse, just a little more sleep. The result of much of such laziness is dire poverty, which will come as suddenly and decisively as a robber. The wicked person winketh with his eyes, and so on. It must be understood that the evil man is winking, shuffling his feet, and pointing with his fingers for evil purposes. Frowardness refers to yeah, that's remember, frowardness is in his heart. He devises mischief continually. He soweth discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. The wicked person winketh with his eyes, and so on. It must be understood that the evil man is winking, shuffling his feet, and pointing with his fingers for evil purposes. Forwardness refers to moral perversity. The 7 things the Lord hates are listed. The first 5 being described poetically under parts of the holy associated with a particular sin. A proud look, proud eyes, got a fug house, got all of this. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Keep the Father's commandment. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. To keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman, lust not after her beauty in thy heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? So he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry, but if he be found, he shall restore 7-fold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonor shall beget, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. So we see here a proud look, proud eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart and devish, wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness, and he that soweth discord among brethren. It is clear from the last 2 items in the list that God is describing people whom he hates. The word hate should not be taken in an absolute sense. However, because it means to reject from one's fellowship, these are the kinds of people who God rejects. A third warning against adultery: thine heart, better mind. The first thing to protect against the adulteress is not the body, but the mind. 2 comparisons are used to demonstrate the folly of adultery. Just as fire burns clothing and coals burn feet, so adultery inevitably brings punishment. And the punishment for adultery is unending in a sense. A thief may satisfy his victim with an appropriate payment, but an offended husband cannot be bought off. So with that ends chapter 6. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed chapters 2 through 6. Listen up, take a look back at these clips. They're all over the place, and you can move up and down the scale, and you'll see this. So hopefully you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. And with that, I am going to play us out here.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
We've increased our sales by about 33%, blowing all of our goals out of the water.
In my first 6 months, I actually grew my business with his help over 500%. Literally 500%.
Les Hill is the type of person that invests back in you and back into your company. So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.